When I was young, they were doing a lot of experiments on me, and they were trying to access the meta God codes in me. But what was happening is that I would get in situations, because I was being attacked a lot and weird things were happening. I would get in these situations and they were do or die in the moment. And often in the do or die moment, that's when my metagene would come out. And there was a situation where there were 3 friends of mine and I who were in a bush bash party in Ontario. And it was seemingly supposed to be okay, but it wasn't okay. It was threatening. So I had told my girlfriends that we needed to leave like right now. And it was dark, pitch dark in the middle of a forest. And it was a mountainous forest. And that whole area was renowned to have crevices all over the place. If there's a crevice going through, you just drop down. Like you just don't even know where they are when it's that dark. So we started being chased by guys that were at that bush bash. And I'm leading my girlfriends, and we're running, and we are all.
Why are you being chased?
Oh, because they wanted to rape us. So they were just like taken over, and then they wanted to rape us, and I could feel it before it was happening. So I like quickly said, "We got to go now." And it was like literally within 60 seconds of me saying that, the guys started like coming after us. So we're running, and it's pitch dark. We couldn't see anything, and this is one of the most dangerous areas in that part of Ontario. It's all open crevices everywhere. Like, people die. You don't just go and walk at night because you'll drop in a crevice. So we're holding hands, and we're running, and they're like crying, and I'm just telling them to like, just trust me, just trust me. We're running downhill, like, because we're sort of in a plateau on top of kind of a mountainous area. We're running down, and it's really, really steep. And then I just said to them, have faith. Just trust me. And I said, just close your eyes and run and follow me and trust me. And then in that moment, I kid you not, like, they all know this, like, they're out there. So it's not like they forgot. We were running on top of the air, no kidding, all the way down. So we weren't even running on land. And it was like, it wasn't until like afterwards that we realized, having gone back to that area, how bad the crevices were in that area, that we would have perished. We would have died. We would have fallen in there, no doubt about it. But
okay. Do you feel that was you doing that?
Yes.
Not some other...
No, I feel like it was my meta. When that happens, okay, there's a relationship that happens. It's you, like, I felt that it was me and my meta just coming on because I could feel it. That's why I said, trust me. When everything comes together, you're having help at the same time. That was the example. When they do the projects in the MyLabbing MK Ultra, the spirit works that they do with these like scientific projects on DNA, when they do that, what they're looking for is they're looking and trying to augment your DNA, right? Your meta-DNA, so that if they cause you enough stress in life, if they cause you enough so that you push yourself to the extreme, you will like literally that metagene will come out. Yep. Which is what they look for to do. So, but it can't come out unless you are in extreme pressure, an extreme...
Yeah. Genuine right. Fight or flight survival situation.
Yeah. Which is often why they cause things to happen to their units, their projects, so that they literally create that...
stress condition.
Right. So that it comes out.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, the whole scenario could have just been rigged. These people could have been MK'd in order to facilitate that situation.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know what you're talking about because I've had examples in my own life where I've exhibited strength that I never should have had, even in regards to pain resistance. For example, not feeling pain where I should have felt pain, not having any effects of a blow, for example, bruising or cutting where I should have under any normal situation.
You remember that case of the twins that were caught on video that were...
Yeah, that ran in front of traffic.
Yes, and got hit. Both of them got hit and ran, I think, more than once even.
Yeah, and she just got up and kept running.
Yeah, that's a really good example of that.
Yeah, and look, some people might say as well it's an adrenaline thing, but at the same time, yeah, you're right. It did defy really what physics would state should have happened there.
Yeah, exactly.
And especially with so many other case studies of that kind of impact, what it should have produced, and yet it didn't. So, yeah, there's no hard and fast set of rules and laws here.
No. Well, and
not when you're dealing with energy.
No. And here's the other aspect, which I think people it's obviously, people forget these things because you don't remember what you felt like when you were a baby unless you have like the consciousness. When you're being born, it's actually one of the most painful and terrifying things you can experience, and you actually think you're dying. So being born here feels like death, like absolute death. Like when you realize that you can take a breath for the first time, you're in shock that you didn't die because you were expecting 100% to be dead because you thought that the process you were going through was death. Which is really profoundly interesting, because what people experience at the end here is death, which isn't death either. So coming in absolutely feels like death, and yet you're born.
Well, it's kind of poetic, because given that this is a underworld,
yeah,
this, in many ways the state of a living dead in an inverted system,
yeah,
then it is fitting. And also when you think about it, you're as a baby or as an embryo in the womb, developing baby in the womb, you are cocooned.
Yeah. In a fluid, just like the universe, the Infini-Verse is in a fluid. So all bodies are in the same womb and the fluid. So that's why it feels, comfortable and innate to us. And then we go through, quote, this canal in darkness, and our eyes are veiled, hence wearing the veil when we get married. And it's all about the veil and lifting the veil, and you're being birthed through the veil. Your eyes are veiled, and you're going through a canal, and it's dark, and you're suffocating, and you feel like you're being crushed, and you feel like you're dying. Like that's like one of the most horrible feelings you can go through.
I can imagine it would be quite traumatic, having that extreme change of environment.
Yeah.
And then just being greeted with all that light and noise.
Taking a breath, because I remember this clearly. Actually breathing
hurts.
It kills. It kills. And it is foreign. Like having to take a breath with these lungs and taking in life in that way is the weirdest thing. And it's very painful. The death that people experience at the end, which not everybody experiences because immortals don't experience death at all. Certain beings don't. And don't need to, and none of us need to, actually, in actuality. Until that's learned, it's going to keep happening to a lot of people. And until it's not necessary anymore, because, you don't need to, and you don't need to stay here. You can phase. That's a different thing altogether. But when they go through that particular juncture, and they do go yonder into the other world, through the death of this physical body or container, it is, again, the same birthing death process as when they were birthed coming in.
Yeah. You have a very, very unique role, hence why you can say that from that standpoint. But most people are going to be transitioning through the fleshly death process. Most people are going to be going through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
And that's what people do need to be prepared for. I don't want to give people any false sense of hope.
Right.
We know that there is going to be a form of a rescuing as well, and we have spoken about that.
And we will speak just about that.
Well, you will be speaking directly on what you have experienced, not being shown, what you have directly experienced outside the binds of time through the King of Kings that people know as Jesus. Mm-hmm. But you know him as Isa.
We didn't know him as Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. So you will speak about that, and that's also another vital message that needs to be outlined for these times, as part of the preparation and as part of the faith and the hope in the true faith, not what's being sold through religious programs and constructs unto agendas, which unfortunately is what this system is often predicated on, and which is, yeah, exactly,
Predator, yeah.
A predatory system.
Yeah.
That does seek to snare based on distortion and half-truths. Nothing sells a lie more than the truth.
Oh, yeah. Totally,
And
completely.
that's where these systems have come into place.
Mm-hmm. Mind you, it's still a mystery, even regardless of those who have come in different ways, like what I have or whatever. It's still a mystery to us how we're experiencing all of this. So nothing's fixed here. So it isn't like things are fixed and not fixed, if you know what I mean. It's hard to explain this.
Well, you're given what you need. Yeah,
and we're experiencing it the way we need to here too, which is for us still very new in many ways, and has huge challenges just like everybody else has them. So we're not outside the realm of everything that everybody else is experiencing. We're actually meant to be experiencing everything as everybody experiences it too.
Well, yeah, the timing isn't an accident, and the thing is that we're unlocked in the correct timing, because that's not an accident either. And even, like I said, even for all the knowledge we've been given, the foreknowledge and what we're tuned into, there are still things that, it wasn't until now that we obtain more of the details, the finer details, because it likely wasn't deemed necessary.
I have memory of being told that there would be unlockings at specific times, and you can't push it no matter how much, so just don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just go step by step. It's meant, you may want things badly right now, but it doesn't matter. You will be unlocked when you will be unlocked.
Well, otherwise, more often than not, it can even be counterproductive, and it can make the journey more difficult. And
that's what I said. It would jeopardize it. It would be jeopardizing, because it's not. It just is what it has to be. And so people have to be relaxed with wherever they are and whatever level of information that they're getting. They have to be okay with it. Like, there's a plan. Just trust. Things are what they are meant to be. Don't push it. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. Just be.
Even in terms of, the aspects of truth seeking, I mean, you have to go with your spirit on that as well, in terms of how ardently you seek. There's a balanced frame in that too, where it doesn't become obsessive or all consuming. Mm-hmm. That has to go in a measure of healthy balance too.
A balance, levity, and experience joy in life. Experience joy, live in the moment, do what makes you happy. But
even service to others, for example, even just being out there, making an impact, and influencing other people's lives positively. Yeah,
that's the most important, I would say.
It's great to do the self-work.
The self-work is the same as doing the work out for others. It's a balance between the two things at the one time. Because if you're doing the self-work on yourself, then you're going to be out there being service to others, because they're both one and the same thing. If you're just doing self-work and it's not balancing out by doing service to others, then it's not, there's obviously, like that coincides as...
Well, yeah, I mean, the self-work is there so that you can be a better influence to others, because then you will attain and remember to get to that point where you can have the wisdom keys and the knowledge keys, and be in that loving frame and non-reactionary, for example. As you know, it's part of our maturity process here, is to not be over-reactionary to what the system delivers. Mm-hmm. And that's something I'm still working on myself, and I've still got my inroads to make in that. Because one thing that this system is going to do, it's going to try and perpetuate extreme reactions from you. And that's one thing where that is our power, is how we choose to react. But what I find is that if you do the work that brings you into a more positive alignment, then that will also affect what the matrix, like what power that can have over you, whether positively or negatively. So it really, again, this is why I keep emphasizing an interactive system. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you might not have to go through certain hardships, for example, if you have done the work, because the system doesn't need to deliver that experience to you.
Or it can affect you the same way.
Yeah. So look, we are getting into a complex area here.
But what you said is huge, though. What you said is huge, and it's hugely important. It's a really important message, because it is true that the system will deliver you everything in such a way that they'll push you into overreactivity. And as long as that you're kept in that overreactivity and hyperreactivity, you will never tap into anything that you really truly have, and you'll always perpetuate that same imprisonment mindset.
Well, the thing is because, think about it, the programs have been initiated with the thought of you're a subject. So subject, slave, here is your program. This is what you are going to observe. This is what you are going to live under. This is the tradition we are going to ordain to, and you're going to follow it. Now, so when you see a lot of these conflicts that take place, and you have structures where these programs set up by design, they're set up by design to create conflict. For example, religious systems that they differ in their own. So even though they're still faith-based, they're worship-based, oh, well, hey, your God's called this and our God's called this, and oh, blah, 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 blah. But it's, in a way, it's so ridiculous, because in many ways you're being given the same God, but yet the teachings and the instructions, there are variations amongst them, but those variations are designed for conflict. So if you, as the slave who has been given that system to follow under that, and then you adhere to that to the letter, more or less, then you will be prone to being highly reactionary when you are met with that opposing energy.
Yeah.
And this is what the platform here is all about, is about not being overreactionary to that.
Yeah, totally, completely.
And this is where the whole scripture of be careful of how and what you judge, lest you be judged, because there is a higher mind that does bear the wisdom and knows the game and has been given to people, as well as the opposing teachings, which run contrary to that, contrary to love.
Completely, yeah.
And are designed to be divisive in a harmful way. Not in a way, because there can be a healthy division, like, for example, keeping away from people who are dangerous to you, who mean to do you harm. There is such thing as a healthy division. I don't want to, confuse the lines here.
Boundary, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about where you will say, no, I'm going to hate you, or I'm not going to like you right off the bat because you're a Muslim.
Right. Yes.
That's where you have fallen prey.
Yes.
To the program.
Yeah.
And where you have that pre-bias in place. So you've effectively already shut off your love. You put the barriers up when you don't even know that person's heart. True.
And you've been neutralized by exactly being corralled in that very reaction to be at that, polar opposite feeling without giving your heart or your spirit any recognition of its entire gnosis. So you're just being run, literally.
And that's the thing, and that's not heart-based. That is head-centric.
Yeah.
And it's based upon preconceived ideas and notions and thought forms, which you have enabled by your own will to instill themselves in your program. And unfortunately, there's, really, when you think about, would we have great wars and conflicts if people just, can you imagine a world where nobody had these constructs enforced on them?
Well, I can.
Imagine how differently we would look at one another and approach one another.
No, I can imagine, because I have memories coming from that. So I know what that's like. Yeah, totally. Which makes it more difficult being in a place like this, by the way.
Because here it feels like a farm. Yeah.
It also feels
all the farm animals have just been herded in. It's like, hey, you're born in this country, you're going to be in this pen. You've got to follow this school of thought. You have to follow this particular tradition because you've been born in this sector. Oh, and if you're born in that sector, no, this is going to be your program.
Yeah, it doesn't promote. See, a place like this, ever since I came in, it felt to me like spiritual death, because they wouldn't even allow a person to grow spiritually the way that they were designed to, without all these. They had to basically jump so many hoops and fight so many things to be able to get to the place where they had literally obtained a measure of sovereignty through the plight of their experiences, having survived so much that's what they had to go through in order to get to that place where they had that, they were finally able to even just push the paradigm and create something with their spirit, and not be the farm animal caged
cattle.
Yeah.
Until humanity breaks those primitive mindsets, then they're going to remain, in a sense, in that cattle prodded state. God knows how long this has been.
Oh, this has been going on.
Perpetuated.
Do you remember how I said that it was the last alternative? Really, it's because this has gone on for eons and eons and eons and eons and eons. It can't be allowed to continue anymore because the imbalance has grown so bad, and the imbalance. So our concept again of time and everything. Our concept period here is not what it is. You can say that we've been trapped, or I'm not going to say we, but the system here has been trapped for, many millions, stagnated in a coma, trapped in a coma.
And where in many ways people have just been relegated as a food source.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, and bit by bit, with that measure of imprisonment and not allowing your spirit to be free and create and step into your power and sovereignty, you become eroded away and chipped away. So if you think of a sculpture and you think of the process of weathering, how it chips away at it slowly, and the sculpture gets smaller and smaller until finally you just have a pebble. So this is why it's so important for people to remember, and this is why it's so important that we help each other to remember that we push each other, that we push the membranes to remember, and just what you think you can and cannot do, push it. Just push it. It's like, when we feel like crap and we wake up and we think we can't even move and we're just feeling horrible, and you think, my God, I can't get through today. You push the envelope, right? You just do it, and then you realize that you're able to go through the whole day and you're fine. You just push through the energetic and you've changed it. And that's really what we are here to do on all fronts. We have to push those energies through. So all of those heavy, heavy, dense energies, we have to push them through. Just like we do on a bad day when we wake up and we feel like hell and we can barely get out of bed. And we yet manage to go to work, we manage to push ourselves, and we manage to get through, and then we realize that we've done a really good job all day.
Yeah. Well, we're also going to go into practical tips in terms of how to better manage our energy, all our energy bodies that affect our physical emanations. I find many people are feeling more and more sluggish, as not just the celestial energies and those changes, but also, for example, the 5G electromagnetic influences, which are working in contrary and encountering, again, within the duality. We have to basically meet and exceed the opposition energies. Because if we don't, we're going to, the pushback's going to be very hard. So always through this trial, we've been here to keep basically a step ahead of the negative programs.
Yeah.
And it's important that we keep that step ahead of the game, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
Because it is ramping up, and the opposition is increasing, and the consequences of those opposition ploys are becoming more extreme as we're getting closer to that 0 point.
And they're going to be actually starting to enact certain measures as testing grounds to see what happens, because they know that other things are coming into effect, and they want to be able to determine the level of, mayhem that will be ensuing. So they're going to actually cause certain things to happen so that they can study the small
the pockets,
and just be able to determine when these other bigger, larger things occur, but really they can expect, because there's still some areas of unpredictability for them.
Yeah. Oh, of course. So, but obviously they're going to be working several contingencies in their planning regarding these electromagnetic and AI synthetic technologies. Obviously, behavior modification is involved with that, in targeting certain population regions with certain frequencies and bombarding them. They know what frequencies they can tailor in order to enact particular sensations in people that affect behaviors. So people need to be vigilant and very mindful of their reactions in that. And this is something that I want us to cover more of in greater detail and depth, regarding being reactionary during times of increasing turbulence.
Yeah, that's going to be key.
Oh, it's a huge component. I mean, go ahead.
Also, that it's coupled with having joy in your heart. The whole overreactionary thing is like key. And then having joy in your heart, so that your joy is actually above all of the lower frequencies that are trying to attack you. So when you couple those two things together, it's really hard to access you.
You know what a great movie was, a great teaching tool? And yeah, ironically, it was based around a time of great conflict and turbulence. It's a beautiful life.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Okay, you can see where he's non-reactionary to a lot of the chaos, and he treats it like a game.
Yeah,
literally, he treats. And I remember there's one particular scene where he's with his son, and he's providing the translation, the German translation, and he treats it like a game. He basically transmutes the energy because he doesn't feed into it.
Brilliant. That's a brilliant analogy.
And I need to actually go back and watch that film, because I reckon there's a lot of keys and teaching tools about how the construct operates here.
And his son is very small, so by doing this, he's teaching his son how to like literally be a foundation here, where he's going to be changing the paradigm. So he is, gifting his son the greatest gift of getting through, so that the son is able to literally magnify itself and not be, taken
broken down by what the system can enforce.
Right. Yeah.
And so we know we're going to be living through times of more enforcement.
Yes.
And more draconian measures, along with the earth changes. So it is really how we react to it, and our state of mind and our state of inner grace through chaos fields.
I was shown that Trump would create that wall, and that when that wall would be finished, the martial law would start.
So in regards to what we've spoken about, in regards to the larger scale cosmic events, they're still years away.
Oh, yes.
I don't want anyone to think that this is happening.
No.
That this convergence is happening next year or in the next 2 years. I don't want people to start freaking out.
Can I just explain that a little bit deeper?
Yeah, please do.
Because it's happening at the same time, but it's not going to happen for years yet. But it's happening now. So both things are happening at the same time. It's occurring right now.
On a more minor scale.
But the actual manifestation that we were going to experience in the flesh, in this density, will come through in years from now. But it is happening now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, we're feeling it. We're feeling it. We know it's happening now. We know that the process is well and truly underway.